Pete walked aggressively up a side aisle and took seats with Maggie at a table beneath the balcony.
2 beers.
Leaning back, he regarded with eyes of superiority the scene before them. This attitude affected Maggie strongly. A man who could regard such a sight with indifference must be accustomed to very great things. It was obvious that Pete had visited this place many times before. A knowledge of this fact made Maggie feel little and new. She was extremely gracious and attentive. He displayed the consideration of a cultured gentleman who knew what was due.
Say, what's eating you? Bring the lady a big glass. What use is that pony?
Don't be fresh now,
Said the waiter with some warmth as he departed.
Get off her.
Said Pete after the others retreated for him. Maggie perceived that Pete brought forth all his elegance and all his knowledge of high-class customs for her benefit. Her heart warmed as she reflected upon his condescension. The orchestra of yellow silk women and bald-headed men gave vent to a few bars of anticipatory music, and a girl in a pink dress with short skirts galloped upon the stage. She smiled upon the throng as if in acknowledgment of a warm welcome, and began to walk to and fro, making profuse gestures and singing in a brazen soprano tone, a song with words of which were inaudible. When she broke into the swift rattling measures of a chorus, some half-tipsy men near the stage joined in the rollicking refrain, and glasses were pounded rhythmically upon the tables. People leaned forward to watch her and try to catch the words of the song. When she vanished, there were long rollings of applause. Obedient to more anticipatory bars, she reappeared among the half-suppressed cheering of the tipsy men. The orchestra plunged into dance music, and the laces of the dancers fluttered and flew in the glare of glass jets. She divulged the fact that she was attired in some half-dozen skirts. It was patent that one of them would have proved adequate for the purpose for which skirts are intended. An occasional man bent forward, intent upon the pink stockings. Maggie wondered at the splendor of the costume and lost herself in calculations of the cost of the silks and laces. The dancer's smile of enthusiasm was turned for 10 minutes upon the faces of her audience. In the finale, she fell into some of those grotesque attitudes which were at the time popular among the dancers in the theaters uptown, giving to the Bowery public the diversions of the aristocratic theater-going public at reduced rates.
Say, Pete,
Said Maggie, leaning forward.
this is really great.
Sure.
Said Pete with proper complacence. A ventriloquist followed the dancer. He held 2 fantastic dolls on his knees. He made them sing mournful ditties and say funny things about geography in Ireland.
Do those little men really talk?
Nah, it's just some big old jolly. You see?
2 girls set down on the bills as sisters came forth and sang a duet which is heard occasionally at concerts given under church auspices. They supplemented it with a dance, which of course can never be seen at concerts given under church auspices. Pete did not pay much attention to the progress of events upon the stage. He was drinking beer and watching Maggie. Her cheeks were blushing with excitement and her eyes were glistening. She drew deep breaths of pleasure. No thoughts of the atmosphere of the collar and cuff factory came to her. With the final crash of the orchestra, they jostled their way to the sidewalk in the crowd. Pete took Maggie's arm and pushed away for her, offering to fight with a man or two. They reached Maggie's home at a late hour and stood for a moment in front of the gruesome doorway.
Say, Mag, how about a kiss for taking you to the show?
Maggie laughed as if startled and drew away from him.
No, Pete, that wasn't in it.
Oh, why wasn't it?
The girl retreated nervously.
Go on.
He repeated. Maggie darted into the hall and up the stairs. She turned and smiled at him, but then disappeared. Pete walked slowly down the street. He had something of an astonished expression upon his features. He paused under a lamppost and breathed a low breath of surprise.
Ah, gee. I wonder if I've been played for a duffer.